Psalm 34. I will bless Yahweh at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul will make its boast in Yahweh. The humble will hear it and rejoice. O magnify Yahweh with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought Yahweh, and he answered me, and delivered me from all my fears. They looked at him, and were radiant, and their faces will never be ashamed. This poor man cried, and Yahweh heard him, and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of Yahweh encamps around those who fear him, and rescues them. O taste and see that Yahweh is good. How blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. O fear Yahweh, you his saints, for to those who fear him there is no want. The young lions do not lack and suffer hunger, but they who seek Yahweh shall not be in want of any good thing. Come, you children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of Yahweh. Who is the man who desires life and who loves length of days, that he may see good? Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. The eyes of Yahweh are toward the righteous, and his ears are open to their cry. The face of Yahweh is against evildoers, to cut off the memory of them from the earth. The righteous cry out, and Yahweh hears and delivers them out of all their troubles. Yahweh is near to the brokenhearted, and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but Yahweh delivers him out of them all. He keeps all his bones, not one of them is broken. Evil shall slay the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be condemned. Yahweh redeems the soul of his servants, not one of them, and none of those who take refuge in him will be condemned. Here we have a psalm that we don't often read in its entirety, not one of the more famous ones as a unit itself, and yet it has one of the most famous verses in it from the Psalms. You see this on a lot of t-shirts, and it's a lot of people's favorite verse or life verse or whatever. Verse 8, O taste and see that Yahweh is good. Usually quoted as, O taste and see that the Lord is good. How blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. And so the invitation here is for all of these blessings of closeness with God and the warnings of doom apart from God. The invitation is for these to become realities in our lives and experiential blessings now, rather than waiting till later on when we realize that we are opponents of him. In other words, look, come and meet this God of ours and see that we're not crazy here. He really is that good, And so the psalm itself is interesting because it takes us through the conflict and the deliverance of those that follow God, of his righteous ones, his faithful ones. Faithful here, being defined as just like, we're following you regardless of what life throws at us. And if you give us good, we will take the good. If you give us bad, by our definition, we'll take the bad. It's like Job says, Lord gives, Lord takes away. Blessed be the name of the Lord, right? It's all from him, and so we take it with thanksgiving. And there's an illustration of this in verses 17 through 22. This is how the psalm wraps up. Let's break this out. Verse 17, the righteous cry, and Yahweh hears and delivers them out of all of their troubles. Now, if that's all we read, if that's all we had here in this psalm, then we would expect some things that actually we know from just experience are not the case, and from reading the Bible as well. God does not immediately deliver people out of their troubles. Sometimes we go through the troubles. And this psalm ended up being a prophecy that was fulfilled in Christ as he lives this truth out. Check this out. Verse 18, Yahweh is near to the brokenhearted. He saves those who are crushed in spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but again he says, Yahweh delivers him out of all of them. Now, verse 20, he keeps all his bones, not one of them is broken. Have you heard that before? That's in John chapter 19, when Jesus is on the cross and he died, and they were coming around, breaking the legs of the people that were on the cross because they were like, we got to get this done before Sabbath, let's go. They came to Jesus, and it turns out he had already died in his flesh. He was dead. And so they didn't bother breaking his legs. And in John 19, it says, this happened so that the prophecy would be fulfilled that not one of his bones will be broken. So, it says here that not a single bone of the suffering, faithful one of God will be broken. And yet Jesus was crushed for our iniquities. It pleased the Father to crush him. He bore our stripes. He suffered more than any human being has suffered. So how can it be said that the Lord delivered him out of his suffering? I mean, we could say, well, hey, it got fulfilled. Not a single bone was broken. But that's kind of like getting off on a technicality, right? We're kind of like looking at an easy way out there and not dealing with the fact that Jesus really did go through the suffering. And he even asked at the beginning, Lord, if there's any other way to do this, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will be done, but your will be done. And so how is this true if it's used later as a reference to Jesus? It's true in this way. God saved the righteous suffering servant, in this case the ultimate one, Jesus Christ himself, from this suffering by delivering him through it victoriously. In other words, this was proved to be true in the resurrection of Jesus. Did he take Jesus out of the suffering? No. But did he preserve him through it? Yeah. Yeah, he did. Jesus died, as we all will, and a lot of us will have a great deal of suffering on the way to the grave. And yet, that's not the end of the story. There's still a deliverance from these troubles to follow. It's like Jesus said in John 16:33, in this world you will have trouble. But take heart, I have overcome the world. We share in that victory through faith, because actually, there you go, 1 John. Faith is the victory that has overcome the world, or that overcomes the world. And so God delivers us from our trials by delivering us through our trials so often. All of this matters today because a lot of us are staring a lot of trials in the face. The world is getting harder. It is getting to be a stranger place. It's getting harder and harder to be a Christian in daily life, or especially like in your online interactions, which ever since the shutdown, there's a lot more online interactions than there used to be. And being a salt-filled, light-filled representative of Christ is yielding more blowback than it used to, right? The cultural window of acceptable ideas, that Overton window has shifted, and we are largely outside of it now. So, trials are increasing. It's okay, normal Christianity. The promise here is that God delivers us through our trials, not just from our trials before they're over, as if we've got an eject button and we can just, pop the seat out of this jet anytime we want to. It doesn't work that way. God is more faithful than that. He's faithful not just halfway through the trial and then get you out. He's faithful all the way to the end and then continuing on the other side for an eternity. This is proved to us in the death and then the resurrection of Jesus and the ascension of Jesus. And now he sits at the right hand of the Father and forever makes intercession for the saints. So God's faithfulness is being proved every moment because Jesus lives. It's being proved every time somebody is saved. It's being proved every moment when a saved person is not perishing, but God is keeping them. This is all a fulfillment of Psalm 34. So taste and see that Yahweh is good and entrust your life to him. Why? Because he has proven himself powerful with Jesus and faithful with all of us for the last 2,000 years since the resurrection. And so we are to trust him in that as well. So trust Jesus even in the hard times because he will see you through.